That'll show you the sick-ass society that we're living in, you know. So, and I spent my whole 30-year career, my post-English major career, writing 3-minute warped comedy songs.
Absolutely.
I don't know if people are familiar with some of my stuff, but I write stupid stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give you just
please.
She named me Dale, Darrell, Waltrip, Richard, Petty, Rusty, Awesome Bill, Irvin, Gordon, Earnhardt, Smith, Johnson, Jr. I guess you could say Mama was a NASCAR fan. I was born in Talladega up in the stands. The fans all cheered the second I arrived. The loudspeaker said the boy's born to drive. We didn't have money for a pacifier, so I sucked on the valve off a Goodyear tire. A 7-pound, 8-ounce son of the South, born with the taste for racing in my mouth. She named me Dale, Darrell, Waltrip, Richard, Petty, Rusty, Awesome Bill, Irvin, Gordon, Earnhardt, Smith, Johnson, Jr., that type of stuff.
Ladies and gentlemen, we finally, after all these years, have our own copy of that song.
Finally.
We've been playing the Bob and Tom song.
Here's a football thing. We saw your scores on the SATs. We know you're gonna score a ton of TDs. And we know you never made A's and B's. And ain't real sure you know your ABCs, but welcome, son, to Clemson football.
That ain't right.
See, I'm just kind of down on South Carolina right now as far as sports.
Why is that?
My least favorite coach of all time was Steve Spurrier.
Yeah.
He's now the head coach of South Carolina.
Right.
Back when he was in Florida, he basically stood around with one of those LPGA hats with that look on his face. You know? Yeah. Steve Spurrier run the score up in a church volleyball game. Wait a minute, Steve Spurrier won the Heisman Trophy. Yeah, when all the black guys were in Vietnam. My favorite football coach of all time, the great Bobby Bowden.
Yes.
Not because he's a great winner, because he was a tremendously classy loser. They'd say, Coach, you sucked out there today. We did, but we got the catch. Our quarterback couldn't keep nothing on his stomach. He had diarrhea at halftime, and he gave him a ball of K-Pectate, the white stuff on the football. Second half's a good catch. Coach, your team stole half the shirts out of a Dillard's. They did, but they're good cats. They was trying to get their grandmama something for Christmas and didn't realize they were in the men's department.
Oh, God help us all. Got a request from David Barber. Says, please have Tim sing Acid Country.
Acid Country. I'll try to.
Can you wind that up?
It's pretty long. I'll cut it down.
Yeah, there you go.
Mama made us listen to Pink Floyd and Floyd Kramer. We had 3 square meals of mushrooms and cornbread. Mama's kitchen smelled a lot like incense and cathead biscuits. We'd watch Porter and Dolly and then throw on the Grateful Dead. Born and raised on acid country, eating turnip greens and a handful of Nebutos. Yeah, Daddy couldn't take it, he had to go. You can't play Hendrix on a banjo. Mama walked the floor and laid another brick in the wall. Our heroes were Roy Acuff and Abby Hoffman. We all remember Abby Hoffman.
Absolutely,
She's all Forrest Gump, you know.
Absolutely.
At the Lincoln Memorial. And that's all I had to say about Vietnam. And then the guy with the wild black hair and American flag, you said it all, man, you said it all. It's Abby Hoffman, war protester.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
He was the only man in the history of America that got his ass whipped at Woodstock. 3 people were born, 3 people died. 1 got the crap beat out of him. His name was Abby Hoffman. So I'm just explaining this to Carrie Underwood's fans.
I'm making notes.
Our heroes were Roy Acuff and Abby Hoffman. Or whatever, I can't remember. Listening to Farron Young and a side of Inagata DeVito.
There we go.
We all remember Farron Young.
Yeah, I remember Farron Young.
CMT, they had It's Outlaw Week.
Yes.
With Hank Jr., Chuck Toby Key, Travis Tritt, Montgomery Gentry, and Gretchen Wilson. They always put her in there. It's Outlaw Week. Okay?
Yeah.
Farron Young was the Elvis Presley of Nashville in 1957. Farron was the man.
He was the man.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then Farron cut Hello Walls by Willie Nelson and all that. Well, about 1962, Farron had a hit called something like That Little Girl, or I'm Looking for That Little Girl, something like that. And he looked down the front row of the show, 3,000-seat auditorium, saw an 11-year-old girl and her parents. He went down the steps and said, honey, come on up here and get your picture took with Farron Young. I got a new record called That Little Girl, and you can be that little girl in the picture. Well, she didn't want to come up. Oh, come on, sugar, don't be shy. Now, come on up here. He grabs her by the hand and going to pull her up on the stage. Farron said she spit on him. Farron Young pulled his belt off and whipped that kid's rear end right there in front of a 3,000-seat auditorium. Wow. In front of her parents. Okay?
Wow.
That's an outlaw.
That's an outlaw.
That's an outlaw.
It's Outlaw Way with Travis Tritt.
Oh, my God. Yeah. You know what?
Farron was the man.
We were that song you were just singing about
Acid Country?
Acid Country. I'm sorry. Too much
it's okay, TJ. You didn't play it. I don't expect you to know it.
Too much. No, we know it. We know it. But that's the truth. That's the way I grew up too. I mean, there was a time when you did grow up listening to In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida and Willie Nelson.
That's right. It was
know?
called Willie Nelson Was Not Cool, and In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida was cool. And you didn't want to be completely uncool listening to Willie Nelson, so you'd throw in the In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida thing. That's what I was trying to get across to start with.
Takes us back to the beginning, ladies and gentlemen. The incredible Tim Wilson. Now, you say is that book published yet that you've been working on?
Yeah, my writing partner's name is Roger Keese, who's a comedian from Chattanooga, Tennessee. We kind of undertook a project that is absolutely unfunny. It's about, I'm from a town called Columbus, Georgia. I was telling you, for Coca-Cola was invented, 1886. They started out putting cocaine in the Coca-Cola, which is why they started putting straws in the top of the bottle. Okay, you're going to learn some stuff in my show this week.
That's right.
Okay, Rodney Carrington don't give a damn about you people. Okay? I'm worried sick about you people. He was just here last week.
He sure was.
He's trying to make a payment on a Lear jet. I'm trying to make a payment on a Lear truck cover. Help me. But anyway, there was 7 women that got strangled in my hometown in 1977. One of them was a friend of mine's grandmother, and another was a friend of mine's aunt. And it was sort of the murder mystery of my lifetime. Mm-hmm. Well, there was a man in England who wrote a book about it here about 4 years ago. And, he had this real controversial book and all that. And I read his book, and he got into this teeth evidence at one point. And there's a man who they've convicted of 3 of the murders who's up for, they're trying to put him in an electric chair right now. And they're looking at doing DNA testing on some of these cases. Anyway, his teeth didn't match up to the marks found in the last victim. Mm-hmm. So they've had a 23-year, appeal situation over there.
I'm surprised they had teeth evidence in Columbus, Georgia.
See, I like that joke, Rick. I like it. If we weren't talking about such a serious topic, it would have been funny.
Yeah, thank you very much.
So anyway, but I got to studying a bunch of this stuff, and next thing you know, I'm looking at a odontology website, and these teeth are staring at me that match the description in this fellow from England's book. Mm-hmm. So me and Roger got to looking at this, and after about a 3-year study of going to archives and getting out evidence boxes and doing timeline, I mean, we've pretty much done all you can humanly do on this. But I have a theory that Ted Bundy murdered 4 women in my hometown in 1978, and I had to go about proving it. Well, it's a book called Happy New Year, Ted is the name of it. It's like Happy New Year -Ted, like he wrote it.
Right.
And, you can go to Amazon.com and pick it up.
Well, good for you.
We've done a bunch of them.
And this is a thick, serious...
This is 420 pages, color pictures. Trust me, anybody who knows me knows that I'd never, ever spend 420 pages writing about anything.
Yeah.
Unless I was extremely positive that I knew what I was talking about.
Now, is anybody taking this seriously? Anybody picking up on this?
There's a fellow at I don't want to get into it too much, but there's some police officers down in Florida who are looking at some of our theory on an old cold case that I think we may have got.
So your mom and dad think finally that Presbyterian education paid off?
Well, I'll put it to you this way, TJ. I don't want to say this is the most well-written book of all time because I wrote it. Me and my partner, Roger Keith.
I understand.
Okay, but I will promise you that this is the best detective story you have ever read in your life.
Well...
And it's called Happy New Year, Ted. It's on Amazon.com, and I'll autograph it if you order it.
Yeah.
And we'll get them to you here very quickly.
Get you some. That's cool. Tim Wilson tonight.
Hey, Toby Keith never wrote no detective books.
No, he did not. No, he did not.
He starred in a movie, though, Eddie.
Now, you want me to tell you the Toby Keith story?
Yeah, go ahead.